Hello people, Chess Enthusiast here, and this time this game is another of my personal collection. And as this is the 31st of July, I'm going to post this video. I thought it's gonna be something that will make your day bright. Now, considering that what makes your day bright is, of course, a sacrifice, a beautiful game in chess. So let's continue. Of course, if you have read the thumbnail, it's about the tactics. But what tactic will you see when you reach the position? Let's proceed. I'm playing with the black pieces. My opponent with the white pieces was named New Stewart with NW Stewart, of course. D4 he started with. I played D5, bishop to f4, knight f6, and knight to f3. This is the London system, and e3 is going to be next. I went for knight c6 and e3 bc. Bishop to g4 I played. He played bishop e2, bishop captures. And as I'm not very much acquainted with the London system and how it works, all I knew was that the bishops were aligned on the f file, attacking on the h2 b8 diagonal and the h1 a8 diagonals. So the only thing I knew coming was that I needed to castle for early, that too on the king side. But before that, let's take an exchange. So knight e4 I played, knight c3 was played, and I pushed this immediate move, which is g5, bishop g3, and knight captures and h captures. Now you must be thinking that exactly what have I done? Nothing except doubling up white's pawn structure on the g file. e6 was played by me, bishop e2, h5, and h5 is a wrong move because immediately bishop captures on h5 is possible. Well, this is a mistake, but this mistake is going to be really beautiful in the future. So I suggest you keep watching. Queen f6 I played, castling king side, which is a mistake by my opponent because you already have opened the h file, you should not have castled that side. I played long castling, and then we have this a4 move. Knight goes to b4 and knight b5. I pushed the knight back after playing a6. As the knight went back, I played knight captures on c2. What's the idea here? If you capture with the queen, you immediately lose defense over the bishop and bishop can be captured. And again, this position is pretty equal, but really, white's development and black's development, whoever wins in that is going to be the winner of this game. So let's continue. After knight takes on c2, he went for rook to c1. Knight takes on d4 I played. Again the idea is if queen captures, then queen captures, e takes on d4 and I win the rook. But again he played e captures on d4, and what was the point of giving up the knight on the d4 square is to really empty the f2, because now f2 is going to be under attack. Bishop to b4 played, queen to f3, now trying to exchange queens. Queen takes on d4, rook to d1, queen moves back and queen captures on f7, and this is awesome because now I went for a very deflective pattern of moves. I don't think that easily you could have guessed. Although I'm a piece down, this is going to be awesome. So pause the video if you want and you can try these moves. The next move was g4. What's the idea? You want it, you can have it. That's what I said to myself. Okay, bishop captures on g4 was played, and here king to b8. I removed the king out of there, and now I was expecting queen captures, but he went for even faster development blow. He went for bishop captures on e6, and we have reached the critical position in the game, and this is the same position from the thumbnail. And of course, if you've seen the arrows properly, rook d to f8 was played, and simply he moved the queen away to the d7 square. And the magical move, and the magical tactic here, this is queen captures on g3. Now it's just taking a pawn in front of the protected pawn, and of course my opponent played f captures on g3, and the game over was bishop c5 check move. The only way to defend was the rook to d4, which was played in the game, and bishop captures on d4 was checkmate. So as you can see, these rooks are just standing there and like, hey king, you're not moving at all. And the bishop came like, hey, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to take you down. So this was really great because I found this in the game. It was really difficult to find such moves, and I'm telling you, this was played at a level of 1200 to 1300. I feel like I'm a grandmaster. Of course, that's not true, but let's go to the analysis. I wanted everybody to see what happens after this queen takes on g3. Let's analyze this position. What exactly is going to happen? Well, of course, you saw what happens if you capture. Let's say you protect rook with rook f1. Well, you get checkmated. Then how about you move the other way around? Rook d2, protection. Well, queen h2 check, king to f1, and queen h1 check, king moves, and then you capture this rook. Anyway, this is going to be the same way as before, not much difference. Anyway, we'll move on to the next move, and this is the only move which can save the game for white for amount of like next 20 moves. That move, which not even to be found by an engine, that move, guys, is this brilliant knight to e4, and you easily do not find it. Now if you capture with the pawn, it's simple. If you take d takes on e4, then queen is captured, and again that bishop c5 check does not work because the rook protects the c file. That's why knight d4 is so amazing. It's another amazing tactic he could have gone for, but my opponent was not aware of this tactic. Queen h2 is the right move. Once you move the king to f1, now you capture that knight, and as you can see, we are equal in material, but the position is better for black, and the computer shows +1 advantage for black, of course. Queen d4 to be considered, because this is a move which computer expresses, but then comes this amazing e3 move. And you must be thinking, what happens after e3? You lose a bishop? Do you? Because after queen captures, no, rook captures on f2, and this is going to be checkmate. Whoa, that's difficult. So after e3, you do not capture on b4. But what if you capture on e3? What happens then? You're simply a pawn. Well, then queen h1 check, king moves, queen h5 check, pawn push, rook e8, and simply the bishop is going to be targeted all the game. And rook d5, and you can see in these further moves, it's simply gone. And now this bishop, now after playing something like rook to h6, that bishop is completely gone. So anyway, I would like to go once more and show you this last variation, which is of the move f3. If f3 is played, I don't want another of the bishops, but I want to protect myself from the threat. What happens? Well, bishop d2, of course, you want to attack a rook. Rook left, and simply queen h1 check, king moves, queen captures, king moves, and this rook wins the queen. So like for 20 to 15 to 20 moves, you save the game when you play this brilliant knight to e4, but although black has always been winning. That's why this queen captures on g3 move was such a success for me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching till the end.